never thought I'd be the type of woman to plot revenge. But when I discovered my husband wasn't just cheating, he was planning to divorce me and leave me with nothing while keeping our daughter, something inside me snapped. Not with anger, with clarity. Cold, calculated clarity. And over the next 6 months, I executed a plan so perfect that by the end, he was paying me child support while I got everything. This is that story. It started with a phone bill. I was organizing our paperwork for tax season when I noticed something odd. Hundreds of texts to the same number. Late-night calls. Always when I was asleep or out with our daughter. My hands shook as I logged into our phone account online. The pattern was unmistakable. Every lunch break, every evening after I went to bed, every weekend when he claimed to be working late. I could have confronted him right then. But something stopped me. Instead, I took screenshots, documented everything, and started watching. 2 days later, I accidentally came home early from my mother's house. I told him I was staying the night there with our daughter, but we returned because she forgot her favorite stuffed animal. The woman's car in our driveway wasn't familiar. The sounds coming from our bedroom were. I didn't burst in. I didn't scream. I quietly recorded the audio on my phone, collected my daughter, who thankfully was playing with her tablet in the car with headphones on, and drove to a hotel. That night, while my daughter slept peacefully next to me, I made a decision. I wasn't just going to divorce him. I was going to destroy his plan to destroy me. Because the next morning, while searching through our documents for our marriage certificate, I found something that changed everything. Divorce papers, already filled out, with his signature ready and waiting. And the custody arrangement? Primary physical custody to him. Limited visitation for me. He was planning to paint me as an unfit mother. There were notes in his handwriting. Document her forgetting to pick up from school. Record her raising voice. Talk to a lawyer about the mental health angle. My husband wasn't just cheating. He was building a case against me, planning to take our daughter. And based on the asset division he'd outlined, planning to leave me virtually penniless. The woman he was cheating with? His paralegal, of course. I photographed everything, put it all back exactly as I'd found it, and started planning. First, I called my best friend from college. She'd become a family law attorney in a different state, so there was no conflict of interest. Don't let him know you know, she advised immediately. The moment he realizes you're aware, he'll accelerate his timeline. Right now, you have the advantage. Information. Use it. So, I became the perfect wife. I came home that next day acting like nothing happened. "Oh, honey, we came back early because little one missed you." Smile, kiss on the cheek, everything is normal. Meanwhile, I was documenting everything. I opened a separate bank account at a different bank in my name only. Nothing large enough to trigger alerts. Just small amounts from my part-time freelance work that I'd previously been depositing into our joint account. Money he didn't know I was making from side projects. I made copies of everything. Bank statements, investment accounts, property deeds, his business records. He owned a small consulting firm, and I'd always handled the bookkeeping. He had no idea how much I actually knew about his finances, including the money he was hiding. See, I'd noticed something months ago, but hadn't thought much of it. Irregularities in his business accounts. Money coming in that didn't match the invoices I'd filed. Expenses that seemed inflated. Now I understand. He'd been preparing for this divorce for at least a year, systematically hiding marital assets in his business accounts, paying himself less on paper while stashing cash elsewhere. I documented all of it. Every discrepancy, every hidden account. I even hired a forensic accountant on a consultation basis to help me understand what I was looking at. She was very interested in what I'd found. Second, I became a supermom. Every school pickup was on time. I volunteered for every class party. I documented every meal I cooked, every bath time, every homework session. I took photos and videos of our daughter's daily life, with timestamps. I joined the PTA, became friendly with her teachers, made sure everyone at that school knew me as the devoted, present mother I'd always been, but now was documenting. When he occasionally bothered to show up for a school event, I made sure to be gracious. "Oh, I'm so glad you could make it. I know work keeps you so busy." Always in front of witnesses. Third, I secured evidence of the affair. I hired a private investigator. Not a dramatic confrontation, just quiet documentation. Photos of him and the paralegal entering hotels. Credit card receipts from romantic dinners. A paper trail that was undeniable. My investigator was thorough. She even discovered they'd been on 2 weekend trips together, which he'd told me were work conferences. There were social media posts from the paralegal, not mentioning him by name, but clearly documenting romantic getaways with her mystery man on the exact dates he was supposedly at conferences. Fourth, and most importantly, I built my case for custody. I started therapy, not because I was falling apart, though this was certainly stressful, but because I wanted documentation of my mental health. A professional record showing I was stable, proactive, and focused on my daughter's well-being. I took her to regular pediatric checkups and made sure every vaccination, every milestone, every aspect of her health care was meticulously documented, with me as the parent present. I even quietly consulted with a child psychologist about the potential impact of divorce on our daughter, and got written advice on how to handle it in a way that prioritized her emotional health. Documentation that showed I was thinking about her needs above all else. Meanwhile, he continued his affair, continued his late nights, continued missing bedtimes and school events, and I documented every single absence. 3 months into my preparation, he finally made his move. I came home to find him sitting at the kitchen table with papers spread in front of him. "We need to talk," he said. I knew what was coming. My heart was pounding, but I kept my face calm. "I want a divorce." I let tears well up in my eyes. "What? Why? Is there someone else?" He had the audacity to look offended. "This isn't about anyone else. We've grown apart, and honestly, I think our daughter would be better off primarily with me. You've been so scattered lately, forgetting things, seeming overwhelmed." There it was, the narrative he'd been building. "I've already spoken to an attorney," he continued. "I'm willing to be fair, but I think this arrangement makes the most sense." He pushed papers toward me. I looked at them with trembling hands, just as I'd seen before. Primary custody to him, minimal support for me, asset division that heavily favored him. "I need time to think," I whispered. "Take a week," he said, almost kindly. "But my attorney says we should move quickly. For our daughter's sake. Stability, you know." I nodded, gathered the papers, and went to our bedroom, where I immediately photographed everything he'd given me and sent it to my attorney. "Perfect," she texted back. "Don't sign anything. In fact, tell him you want to use your own attorney to review everything, that you want to be cooperative and want to make sure everything is fair." So that's what I did. I played the confused, overwhelmed wife, the one who just wanted everything to be fair and amicable. He relaxed, thought he'd won. 2 weeks later, I filed first, not with the agreement he'd proposed, with my own petition. Primary physical custody to me, with detailed documentation of why. His work schedule, his frequent absences, my role as primary caregiver throughout our daughter's life. Grounds for divorce? Adultery, with full documentation of the affair. And most importantly, a motion to freeze all assets pending forensic accounting, with preliminary evidence of his hidden accounts and financial manipulation. The look on his face when he was served was almost worth everything I'd been through. He came home furious. "What the hell is this? We had an agreement!" "No," I said calmly. "You had a plan. I have evidence." I watched the color drain from his face. "Evidence of what?" "Your affair with your paralegal. The money you've been hiding in business accounts. Your scheme to paint me as an unfit mother. The draft divorce papers I found 3 months ago where you planned to take everything, including our daughter." He started to bluster, to deny, but I held up my hand. "I have phone records, photos, financial documents, testimony from our daughter's teachers about who's actually been present in her life, video and photographic evidence of you entering hotels with your girlfriend. And I have documentation of every school pickup you missed while I was there, every bedtime you skipped while I was reading stories, every doctor's appointment I attended while you were otherwise occupied." "I'm her father." "You're a father who's been planning to commit fraud in divorce court," I interrupted. "And now you're going to learn what happens when you underestimate your wife." His attorney tried to fight. They claimed my evidence was gathered improperly. They tried to argue that his business accounts were separate property. They attempted to resurrect his narrative about me being an unfit mother. But my attorney dismantled everything. The affair was relevant to custody because it demonstrated poor judgment and had taken place during a time he could have been with our daughter. The hidden money was marital property being deliberately concealed, which spoke to his credibility. And his plan to falsely portray me as unfit was documented in his own handwriting. The forensic accountant I'd hired found over $200,000 he'd hidden in various accounts, money that should have been disclosed as marital assets. His paralegal girlfriend lost her job when the affair came to light. Her firm had strict policies about relationships that could create conflicts of interest. And the custody evaluation? The psychologist assigned by the court spent time with both of us, observed us with our daughter, and spoke with her teachers and pediatrician. The report was devastating for him. While the father clearly loves his daughter, the mother has demonstrably been the primary attachment figure and caregiver throughout the child's life. The father's work schedule and recent life choices raise concerns about his current ability to provide stable, consistent care. The final settlement took 6 months to reach. I got primary physical custody, with him having standard visitation every other weekend and 1 evening per week. Exactly what he'd tried to limit me to. The house went to me and our daughter. It made sense since I had primary custody and she'd grown up there. The hidden assets were divided as marital property, which meant I got half of the money he'd tried to steal from me. His retirement accounts were split 50-50. And here's the beautiful part. Because I had primary custody, because I'd left my full-time career years ago to be home with our daughter while his business grew, and because of the income disparity between us, he pays child support. Substantial child support. He also pays spousal support for the next 5 years, alimony to help me get back on my feet career-wise after sacrificing my own advancement to support him. The total monthly amount? More than I'd made at my old job. His attempt to leave me with nothing resulted in him paying me for years to come. But the real victory isn't the money. It's the custody arrangement. It's knowing that our daughter goes to sleep in her own bedroom every night, in the home she's always known, with the parent who's always been there. It's watching him show up for his Wednesday evening visitation, no longer calling the shots, no longer controlling the narrative. It's the security of knowing that his plan to paint me as unfit not only failed, but became evidence of his own poor character in court documents. Last month, our daughter had a school play. She was a sunflower in the garden scene, a small role, but she was so proud. I was there early, in the front row, like I've always been. He showed up late, slipped into a back row seat. After the performance, she ran to me first, wrapped her little arms around my waist and said, "Did you see me, Mom? Did I do good?" "You were perfect," I told her, kissing the top of her head. He approached awkwardly, clearly unsure of his place. "Hi, sweetheart," he said. "You did great." She smiled at him. She still loves her father, as she should, but then turned back to me. "Can we get ice cream to celebrate?" "Absolutely," I said. As we walked away, I didn't gloat. I didn't even look back. Because that's the thing about revenge. Real revenge isn't about rubbing someone's nose in their defeat. It's about building a life so secure, so stable, so full, that their attempt to destroy you becomes nothing more than a footnote. He thought he could discard me, replace me, erase me from my daughter's daily life. Instead, every child support payment is a reminder of how wrong he was. Every weekend he spends alone while our daughter is with me is a reminder of what he lost. Every school event where I'm the parent the teachers greet by name, where I'm the one who knows all the details of our daughter's life, is a reminder of who was really essential all along. I'm not the same woman I was when I found that phone bill. I'm harder, smarter, more strategic, but I'm also more confident, more secure in my worth, more certain of my capabilities. Because I learned something important. The best revenge isn't emotional, it's calculated. And when you execute it perfectly, you don't just survive, you win. If you're facing something similar, remember this. Document everything, trust your instincts, and never let someone else write your story. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to be the victim they tried to make you.